we don't need a clap. Look at that. Maybe we shouldn't, like, not interview, but you know what I mean? Like, ask each other, like, since the audience doesn't know really who we are, maybe we can.
They don't know who you are. You're everywhere, Danny McFarland.
You know what I'm saying? But so, should we clap again for the new take? All right, here we go, rookies. Hello and welcome to Conversation with Friends.
Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Dr. C. Love. My name has a message. So if you see love everywhere you go, you always have it around you and you find family and friends.
And my name is Danny McFarland and it has a message behind it, which we're here to discover.
That's right. That's right. So what brings you here today? I mean, I know we're co-hosting, but we each have had our journey that brought us here. So
yeah, I think it'd be fun, share a little bit to our viewers, like who we are, how we met. We both met through the University of Santa Monica. It's a program that we both got our master's in spiritual psychology at different times.
Yes.
Dr. C. Love here went through many years before I did. However, we both went through the facilitator course that they put on. And we met and became instant friends and been excited to shine our light into the world. And so here we are. Can you give our viewers a little bit of background? Like, can you tell me, I know your background in education.
Yes.
Can you give me a little bit of the background of how that extends and maybe what happened in your journey of education that brought you into spirituality and personal growth?
I began my journey of spiritual growth really kicking and screaming when I was 18. My twin brother was in a car accident on his way home from his first year at Morehouse College. And so that resulted in him being in critical condition for 3 weeks. Yeah. And so it was during that 3 weeks that I remembered soul-to-soul communication. Like, yeah, we used to talk in my mother's womb. We used to play. We used to say, move over. You're squishing me, all of those things. And so here it was, one of the most painful times of my life to this day. And yet there was such a sweet embrace of spirit with me through that process, including his last words being to me, I love you. And for me, like, I don't know how you are, Daddy, but like when he was growing up, I would say, I love you. And he would only say, me too. Right? Me too. Right. So guys, what can we do? So this time we were on the phone. It was about 2 weeks before the accident. And we were getting off the phone. And I said, I love you. And he said, I love you too. And I said, what? I pulled the phone back from my face and looked at it. I could not believe he said that. Wow. And those were the last words he spoke, because in the critical condition for those 3 weeks, he couldn't talk. But he had already said everything that he would say. Thank you for being my sister. Thank you for the journey, the good times, the bad times. And in the end, all the bad times are good too, because they're just memories. And so thank you for being my sister. I love you. And so he left me that gift. And so that propelled me. And that's why love is now, it's my message. It's my theme. It's like I had to find something greater than my pain. And love was the only thing I could find. And love is everything. So how cool is that?
That's amazing. I mean, I couldn't imagine. We've all lost loved ones, and I imagine with being twins, there's a unique connection.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That's even deeper that comes with that. And it begs me to question, was there a period of time that was a bit of struggle trying to understand that and maybe frustration? Or?
Yes. What time is it?
Right.
Because it becomes a lifelong journey. And so if you've lost people that are close to you, that have been in your world, that like they never really leave your consciousness. Like some days I forget, even 20 something years later, sometime I forget that he's not on the planet anymore, and that's a resettling. We can still talk, but I just have to use my long distance. Good thing they don't charge about a minute. Is
that included
Unlimited calls, yeah. Nice. I call it Spirit Tel. When I need to talk to my friends and family that have crossed over, I use Spirit Line.
Yeah, I like that. Mm-hmm. So you ended up eventually getting into education.
when I discovered USM, I had already finished my BA in telecommunications, broadcast, radio, and film, and I was going to go into script writing. When I came across this Whole Person magazine, I don't know if you've ever had one of those like intuitive moments where you just know absolutely this is what I'm supposed to do. I opened the Whole Person, and right there, University of Santa Monica, education the way you always wished it would be. And I just said, that's where I'm supposed to be.
Wow.
I called the other school and told them I was going to delay my start of my master's in screenwriting because I had to go to this other program first. And USM helped me learn how to breathe in a sense, because it helped me understand that life wasn't happening to me, that I could choose to see the positive in what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as one of my professors said, the Honix is foolish not to win in your own fantasy. And it's like, sometimes that sounds so simple, but what a revolutionary thought. How many times do we let fear paint a picture of us of all hell breaking loose?
Definitely. I mean, it seems to be the journey of being a human being.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So what I think is really interesting is that you're in a position now to really take this into your teacher now, right?
Yes.
And so you're able to, in your own way, incorporate this into the way that you're educating children today.
Absolutely. I mean, and the spiritual psychology, I love it because it's the whole package. You know,
Right.
Psychology, we know, is the study of the mind and the thinking and all of these things. But when you put we are here on planet Earth to have a human experience, to learn and to grow, it puts the things that happen into a different paradigm. So now we're looking at, wow, what is this opportunity offering me? You know, what can I gain? What can I learn? How can I grow through this experience instead of getting stuck in victim? I mean, and I know you've got your own understanding of that.
Definitely. Well, going off of what you just said, I think was great, because that really is what inspired us to start this show, is to just share. We're just everyday people. We're no gurus or experts or anything of that sort. but we are like, so often things are shared in a way that maybe doesn't seem really feasible or attainable in our everyday lives, with all the struggles of family and work and everything that's going on. So we feel like there's a lot of power in just everyday people sharing their stories that have been through lots of struggles and maybe what helped them and served them to get through that. And so we were really inspired to bring a program together and call it Conversations with Friends, so that we can bring friends and just regular people, everyday people on the show or amongst ourselves, share challenges and struggles that we may have went through, and what were the tools and skills or certain things that supported us in getting through that and getting on the other side, and shifting often paradigm thinking, perspectives that sometimes the ego can get caught up in trying to figure out, well, is it true or not, or whatever that might be. And we'll have a separate section where we dive into that. The most important thing, I think, is to shift that fear that gets in our way of trying new things, and just start trying things on as experiments. And like I say all the time, is if things are working for you, don't change a thing. But for some reason, the result you're getting isn't what you're seeking, then maybe it's time to just try on some new things. And if you don't like it, think of it like Nordstrom's or Costco. You know, you just take it back, get a full refund.
Hey, both of those places take things back.
Right? Full refund.
Full refund.
So,
no questions asked.
I don't know about you, but that supported me a lot in just trying things on, like little experiments, and seeing how then the results I would get from trying that on. And if I didn't like the shirt, I return it. I keep the pants, get a new pair, and get a new shirt.
That's right.
Hang on the shoes, whatever, find the outfit that fits you.
Exactly. I mean, and then just come to an understanding that we go through our different situations, but they have a thread of similarity in them, in the sense that they call us forward. to our higher self. They call us forward to reach out to someone else, to be reminded that it took two people to get us to this planet. So in our own creation, that there is a synergy with growing together, so that if I can learn something from what you've been through or what you've been through, then I'm grateful. I mean, I can up-level my life faster by learning from your learning, and that's the invitation here.
Absolutely. Well, we're excited to get things started. We're trying. This is an intro, so we're going to get some basic stuff out just so you know who we are and what's going on, and we'll jump into some topics. And we're always looking for feedback from you guys. We really want to. We're here to serve you. So if this isn't helpful, we'll just stop doing it. I mean, seriously.
But we're going to try it again. We're going to take that back and get another shirt.
Exactly. But ultimately,
your questions, your thoughts, your suggestions, we're open. It's like a learning orientation to life, and learning orientation to production. Your voice matters.
Exactly. And this is a little quick tidbit about my background. Growing up, this was a lot of interesting experiences, a lot of challenges, whether it was, challenges struggling from dyslexia, ADD, family issues, which type of things that we all have in our own ways, and we experience challenges. And it took me, I'm a very slow learner, so it took me a very long time and lots of struggle, because I was very resistive to acknowledging those challenges, because it would mean I was less than, and that was the last thing I wanted when I was seeking family approval and so forth.
Social settings, all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so eventually I ended up getting into law enforcement. And
how did that, that's always been something that's been curious. How did you get to law enforcement?
Well, it's interesting because my dad was a cop.
Oh, okay.
But that people would always tell me, "Hey, you're going to be a cop like your dad." I'm like, "No, I'm not." I'm not. And so I was instantly against it. And to be honest with you, I wasn't even a fan of cops growing up. I really wasn't. I grew up with my mom, and my mom is Hispanic. She's Mexican, and so I grew up with a single mom, Hispanic mom, raising a couple kids on her own, and went through some real challenges and struggles. And I, like many people, would see stuff on TV and the media, and I would judge, law enforcement and cops as bad people. And I originally I was like, I want to be a defense attorney. I want to be a defense attorney because I want to protect these innocent people. I want to protect these innocent people that are getting put away. And then the reality, as I researched that more, I found out I'd be really spending my time helping guilty people get off, which was the opposite of how I wanted to help people. And then I thought, well, maybe a politician. And of course, as I learned more about that, I realized that was not what I wanted.
Well, I think I'll be a cop.
And then one day, my dad called me up and said, "Hey, they're running an academy if you're interested in going through it." And I had been going through school and struggling to get through college and working many jobs and all that stuff. And it seemed like a way to where I might get some stability in my life. Mm-hmm. And it had a lot of flexibility I was always needed to be active and have a lot of things going on. So I was never going to be a guy that just sat behind a desk and filed files. I needed something new and different all the time, and I wanted something where I'd help people, and every day would be a new day in store for me, which really was what law enforcement seemed like it would be a great fit for. And it seemed fun, honestly, to go in the academy and do the obstacle courses and all that stuff. So my best friend at the time, and he and I went into the academy, and we went through it, and it was the hardest thing that I had ever done to that point. It was an intensive 6-month academy. But what was interesting is I actually discovered a lot more about me than I expected. Because in the academics of it, I had to learn so much so fast. The test and that in my entire life, school had been a massive struggle for me. And so the assumption was I'd do worse. But the interesting thing is what I found out is my challenge in school was that I didn't really care about all the stuff they were teaching me.
Yes. So you didn't have that extra incentive to really just dig in and press through.
Yeah. So as soon as I was like, oh, this was intriguing to me, like I was learning stuff so quick and so fast. And I ended up averaging, I think it was like 92% overall with the scholastic side of it. Athletically and all the other stuff. I finished as top athlete and different things like that I was already like doing.
That's from the point of
but what was really the most, I think, best thing I could say that I really learned about in the academy was I used to be incredibly sensitive. And I remember because of obviously the challenges that, I mean, I didn't learn this till I got older, but I was so judgmental and so upset about the challenges that I went through in life.
Yes.
And not just me, but what I saw going on to other kids and other people, that I remember just even watching like stand-up comedy, and it would upset me so much because when they see a joke, make fun of somebody or whatever it was.
That's not funny. That's
right.
Not.
I remember it literally like just bringing tears to my eyes and frustrating me and upsetting me. And what was great about the academy is they were really hard on you. And I remember one of my instructors was purposely trying to screw me over, trying to fail me out of the academy, even though I was working so hard and I was so nice. But see, my own righteousness was like, I'm nice and I'm working so hard. Why would you do that to me? It doesn't seem, it's not fair.
See, I was going to ask you, I was going to say, is the academy designed to build you up or to break you?
Well, and it could be both, but the thing is, it was different than the way others were being treated, which made it more obvious to me. It made it seem more unfair.
Did they know your father was in law enforcement?
Yeah. And the interesting thing, though, was not get stuck in that.
Yes.
Because, and luckily the competitiveness in me was like, well, I'm not going to let them win by pushing me out. And someone told me, you got to just treat it like water in the shower. You just got to let it roll off your shoulder.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. And the point why I bring that up was because that was one of the most important lessons that I learned, especially with becoming a cop and getting into law enforcement, is if I was going to be hypersensitive about what's fair or not, that's not the business for me. And life is not fair, and I'm not sure who told us it was supposed to be fair, but the sooner you can let go of that idea.
Yeah, when did anybody, was that just an assumption that we all made? Because I don't think I remember hearing, I think even from Lion King, life's not fair.
It just isn't. I mean, but I think it's this part of maybe the way we were conditioned to control us, like be good and then you get good stuff, you know? Right. And so it's kind of like, even the same way they used to talk about karma, good karma, bad karma, all that stuff.
How about good things come to those who wait? Yeah, like a parking space in LA.
That's a good one.
but but it's like, I heard you say the hated hero. Like when you're a cop, and I tell people all the time, I'm like, you guys are saying these things, but let's just keep it 100. Something happened, 911. Those same people you're going to call. Right. So it's like the hated hero.
You're right. It really is. I hadn't heard that term before.
I hadn't either.
Did you just?
Yeah, just when you were explaining, I was like, wow, the hated hero.
No, that's very true.
What an interesting.
And the irony in it too of like the very thing that like the intention to go in there is to help people that are being treated unfair, or being manipulated or taken advantage of, and then the irony in it is the misunderstanding that comes along with it. But then it was even like, well, I guess in the case I was just talking about, it was somebody on the department that was doing it, but it was like a blessing because it's very similar to the way they used to do in military. And of course, we got rid of hazing, and we said hazing's not good.
So they say,
but into something. I mean,
to a large extent, they slowed it down. But
I'll be honest to you, to a certain degree, it's good. it's healthy for us to overcome adversity in life.
To build up some thick skin, as they say,
Yeah.
and some fortitude and some perseverance and the positive self-talk. Because in the moment that somebody's like, "Hey, you're crap," you're like, "I'm not. I'm awesome. I'm strong. I'm wonderful." So the duality is there, but the growth opportunity is there, and it's kind of like the other side of the coin, like Absolutely. You said, to build up or break down, however you take it.
Right, which is a big part of what I think we want to get across with our show is we can get stuck on what's right and wrong. Right, we can really get stuck in that, and then it's not fair. And ironically, what we do is we put ourselves in the victim role.
Yes, but anybody wants to dance that dance, we could say, is it wrong to always be right?
Yeah.
That's a growth point. If you're somebody who has to always be right.
Absolutely.
That is absolutely something to look at. I won't tell anybody. Just us and our million friends.
But the irony in it was I never cared about being right. I was more afraid of being wrong and what that would mean.
Yeah. And what would that mean?
It's just fear of... okay, that's a great question. I would say a couple different things, but I would say that it really was like I was so afraid of doing something wrong, of not being good enough, and not being accepted, not being validated, and repercussions of doing something wrong. And I felt like there was enough things wrong with me already. I didn't need
something else to add to it.
I didn't need an extra thing to be wrong. And so, righteousness is, it's interesting because when I use righteousness, I use it in a different way because I was never righteous unto others because I felt like people, I think, would say that I've always been very accepting. I'd be like, hey, to each their own, do what you want, that's your life. As long as you're not hurting other people, I don't really care. But I think the reason why I was like that in life was because I treated other people the way I wanted to be treated, which is interesting because that is the thing we hear.
Right? That is what we hear.
But the interesting thing is really it's about treating yourself the way you want to be treated, right?
Yeah.
You
show others how to treat you by how you treat yourself. When I coach, let's say a young woman, for example, women, and they're like, oh, I want my partner to bring me flowers and take me to the spa. I'm like, do you buy yourself flowers? Do you take yourself to the spa? Who is this magical, mysterious person that's just going to know how you want to be treated? And if you really want to be treated that way, what are you waiting for?
That's right.
And I think that also brings, me to something that's really significant about this show, about this time. It's like the time is now. It's like, what's that poem when it's like, don't wait, dance like no one is watching.
Oh, yeah,
Don't wait till you're small enough, big enough, rich enough, this, that, and the other, till you move to you. That the living and being in life is now. And every new now is created from the now. So then we get to ask ourselves, how will we show up now?
Which is interesting because depending on how we're relating to ourselves, we can then start judging ourselves for not doing it good enough now.
Yes.
Right. And so that's maybe another thing. Not maybe, it's definitely another thing that we'll talk a lot about is the ego. Meaning not like egotistical, but the part in our psychology that judges right and wrong, good and bad, and attaches meaning and belief systems. And the more that we can peel the layers back on that, the illusions.
Exactly. And the me, myself, and I always say it's more than a Beyonce song. Like we're always in at least a 3-way conversation, negotiating with our basic instincts, and then the programming, and then the higher calling that pulls us to reach towards something that's greater than just ourselves. Like, what are we getting out of this thing? I mean, how many of us at some point who's been through some pain, like, it's like, you know what, I'm getting something out of this. Something good is coming from this.
And I think an important, well, what I'll do is just speak for myself.
Yes.
Okay, so one of the things that helped me to rise out of that was to shift being attached to the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're often, or I was conditioned, I believe this is part of our society, we're conditioned that the external things are a reflection of our worth, of our value.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're kind of designed through conditioning, not through our natural way of being, that our sense of value or worth is external things reflected to us.
Yes.
Instead of realizing it's an inside out job.
Mm-hmm.
And because often it's like, well, what would that mean?
Yes.
Like you were talking about, I want a girl was like, I want the guy to give me flowers and this and that, which is nice. We're not saying not to do those things. It's awesome. It's nice.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe that person in that moment, like, what would it mean to her if someone did?
Yes.
It would mean she's probably more lovable,
Mm-hmm.
more worthy, or she's the person that it's a reflection of who she really wishes that she was.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why, but the challenge with that is when we attach that sense of worth or value to someone external.
That's external. Anytime it's external,
Well, because now you find that guy who's doing that for you, right? And now I feel amazing. I'm who I want to be and this and that. The challenge with that is all of a sudden that dude takes off or that girl takes off.
Mm-hmm.
Then now that's why we get crushed.
Exactly. I mean, and that reminds me of something else. When I'm working with people in terms of like clearing old relationships, it's like, why is it that as soon as we get in a relationship, then everybody wants to start trying to talk to us? What is it? So we get a relationship glow. We've got validation of our beauty, of our likability, of our compatibility, all these affirmations of our worth. And then we shine, our radiance is brighter in the world, and so it attracts people. But what if, because we were in relationship with ourselves, just for fun, like really harness that energy and move through the day like that?
That's right.
How much fun that is.
And I mean, ultimately, that's the journey, right?
Mm-hmm. To loving.
I'm sure everybody's heard by now the phrasing of like the little one inside, the little girl, little boy inside, and I'm sure we can all relate to like that inward voice that's wanting us to validate and listen to them.
Yes.
Not when we put other people in front of our little ones.
Exactly.
When we're it's ironic because really the outside world is a reflection of our inner reality.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's been our experience of what.
That's right.
When we try these things on as experiments, test them out, and then try it on for 30 days, 60 days, and then just look at the results, see if things shift, things are different for you. But when I'm abandoning my little one inside, it's interesting how that's reflected to me by the outside world.
Yes.
But I keep wanting to change that to have a different experience in here. And it's really not the issue that's the issue, it's how I'm relating to the issue that's the issue.
And then, once I make meaning of, hey, I'm not being validated here, and I make it mean something, then I change my filter that I'm seeing the world with. And so from that position, everything is validating my unworthiness. It just comes back and back again, and it's going to do that because it's inviting us to grow. So it won't just go away. It's just not how it works.
No.
So because life is not happening to us, it's happening for us.
Exactly.
It's for us. And so if you've never really thought of this concept before, it won't just happen overnight, like poof, you wake up. And that's where, when Danny was talking about the ego and what that means, it represents a certain way of seeing ourselves in the world and being in the world. And and how the ego really is meant to work for us, not rule us.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, the ego still wants. You still want the ego in the car.
You
just don't
need
want
the
it,
ego.
You just don't want to drive in the car. You want in the back seat or the passenger seat. It serves us in many ways to live life in the physical world here.
When you want to give up, that ego's get up, get up. You might be running a marathon or something. Keep going.
Yeah.
We can do this. The ego's got your back, but the ego works for you.
You know, that makes me think of an interesting topic. Because it wasn't that many years ago in our society, we started to judge competitiveness as bad or wrong. And that, we shouldn't give first place trophies and it should be more about just everybody participating, and we give them participation trophies. And in concept, it sounded really sweet and nice. But again, that would be saying that the issue is the issue, not how we're relating to the issue. That's the issue.
Was it last year? It was last year or the year before. I participated in the Global Energy 5K. And if I had come in first, I would definitely want my medal, my award. I don't want to hear that. Now, being as I probably came in at about 350, I appreciated my participant medal. I was very, very grateful. I have it. It's a source of, hey, completion. I did this.
Yes.
But trust, first, second, third, give me what's mine. Give me what I worked for that.
Well, I'm definitely not saying like one of those. I guess a better way of getting across what I was trying to say was that somehow we made competition as being bad or wrong.
But there's positive peer pressure.
Well, this competition is what drives us. Competition is why we have this mic, or why we have a camera that is as great as it is. I mean, why we can be on the internet right now.
Yes.
It's a wonderful, beautiful thing that's part of our human nature that gets us through and improves us. And it can also be what's challenging for us.
Yes.
So the point being, like, it's not the competition that's the problem, it's how we're relating to it. So the challenge is when we don't win, we think it means that we're less than or that we're not good enough. That's the change that needs to be made, not
or even locking in what to win means. Like, so for me, crossing the finish line in that 5K was a win.
Absolutely.
For somebody who trained, getting one of those first 3 medals, that might have been their measure of what it means to win. Unless they were overcoming some kind of really, physical thing and then just them finishing. So it's like, what does winning mean to me at any given moment?
Exactly. And that's the point, is it's really, the journey isn't taking away the competition.
Yes.
The journey is shifting how we relate to the competition.
And we're really ultimately only in competition with our last best. That each opportunity is a chance to just be better than we were before. And if we're not by our standards, then that's an opportunity to grow, to look at, hey, what's different here? Was I talking to myself different? Was my preparation different? What was the shift that caused me not to grow? So here's the beautiful part. As long as you grow, you progress, and so you win.
That's right.
Every time you grow, you win. So that you can only win if you keep growing.
Well, and it's not really even losing. See, this concept of failure.
Yes.
Is the challenge, right? Because it's this idea that it's win or fail versus seeing it like steps. These are all, imagine that if you got up and tried to walk your first time as a baby and you fell and you never tried again.
Exactly.
Or maybe you fell 5 times. Or
you
maybe
just sit there and go, I'm a failure. I can't do this thing called life.
40 years old, like laying on the ground, crawling around still because you were too afraid to ever try to stand up and take another step.
You have to fall in order to walk.
But see, fortunately, children don't have this stupid
This
ego, this judgment of right, wrong, failing. I need to be good in order to try. There's so many things in my life that I've, in the past, would never even attempt. I never felt like I wanted to try it because I didn't think I was interested. But if I really understand it now, like the reason I wasn't interested is because I knew I wasn't good at it. And
I didn't get it. Who wants to do that? Forget that, man. Y'all do that.
Sure,
yeah. You know, it makes me think about, because, you know, this is another conversation for another day, maybe with someone who has a different actual perspective on this. But it always makes me think about what people have to say about childbirth, you know, and natural childbirth versus childbirth with the back shock, the epidural, or being born through cesarean. You know, some people have something to say, like they say that getting through the birth canal is their first big opportunity to win, and that means something if they weren't. But I mean, it's like,
so what does it mean if they were cesarean?
So my son, I did hypnobirthing. You know, he's almost 8 now, but I trained hypnobirthing. I was so relaxed, everything was ready. I never dilated. So ultimately, I was almost going like 2 weeks over from the due date. So they brought me to the hospital. They tried everything to induce. It was no budging. But there's a beautiful story in that. So they had to go and ultimately go get him. And it was really funny because it took them 3 times. Like, I have the video and you just see me rocking, because they're pulling up. By the 3rd time, the doctor said, wait. He told the person who's helping him, he said, you put your hand under to the left and then I'll put my hand under to the right. And if he does like that, then you shift there like that. And they had to come up with like this game plan to get him out. And you just see me rocking back and forth on the board. And I'm looking like, what is going on? You know, because I can feel the tugging. I can't feel pain.
Right.
But I'm just rocking like, what is going on? It was just funny because my son is, like I said, almost 8. And I still see some of that behavior where I'm just like waiting and I just think back to his birth journey. It was very informative. You know, I know what I'm getting. He's going to take his time and do what he wants to do along the way. And if you want to rush him, you're going to be kicking and screaming. He's not going to be kicking and screaming. He's going to be just doing his thing.
Right, which is like, brings it back around, like begs the question of like, well, hey, if he's fine with it, like, what's the problem?
He needs to be at school by 8 o'clock.
Oh, yeah.
So I try, no matter how earlier up I go, I keep shifting like 15-minute increments, and we still come out the door the
like
same time. I'm like, man, we got up at like 6:15. Why are we just leaving the house? So, but it's just funny, but that was the personality. Yeah, but that was in his personality from the beginning.
I think my sister would agree with you with one of my nieces on that one.
I was like, yes, honey, come on. And then but it calls me forward to be patient.
Yeah.
To remember that that's part of his spirit. He's taking everything in, and you know, he's assessing things, and he's being thorough. So
maybe you still hypnotized.
I know. Like,
maybe all that hypno.
You need to try that.
Stuff.
You will come out the house 30 minutes before.
You need to break that spell it was put on him.
Yeah, it was good though. It was really wonderful pregnancy. It was really relaxed.
I bet. Mm-hmm. I'm actually a cesarean baby as well. Yeah, my mom was in labor for 48 hours.
Wow.
And they thought it was a little 6-pound baby, and another doctor came in and was like, this is not a little baby. He's not coming out here.
He's not coming out of here.
I was 11 pounds. My mom was like a little 98-pound, 5'2" girl. I said, no.
Let's go get him.
So I feel like I had that struggle trying to come out for a really long time.
Yeah.
And then maybe that's a metaphor for life.
Mm-hmm.
I had to struggle a really long time, and then finally.
But you came out when you weren't struggling at all.
Right. Ooh. Yeah.
When the struggle ceased.
Yeah.
Liberation awaited.
Right. Oh my God. I feel like all my journeys with the hospitals growing up were a struggle. Interesting enough. But cool. So what do you want to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, so this is this is good, and I'm really grateful. It's just been on my mind since we started. I just want to put it out there, like at the end. Thank you for being a friend. Like, you remember from the show?
What?
Thank you for being a friend. It's you don't know the song.
Oh man, don't make me sing. I'm not supposed to be.
but you know the song. Thank you for being a friend.
Thank you for being.
It wasn't
a
Mama's.
friend.
It wasn't Mama's Family. What was that show? Thank you for being
a friend.
You don't know. Thank you
in.
for being
Let's do it.
a friend.
All right. So
I
that's
gotta
how
find the song. Maybe my mother, somebody will
apparently is
remember.
how we're ending the episodes. How do I get into this
Thank
stuff?
you for being a friend. That's so cute.
I was just on Lee's podcast.
Oh, we can just change it up. We can go, friends. How many of us have friends? Ones we can depend on. Friends.
Ones we can or can't depend on.
Hey,
we gotta make it can.
Can the ones we can't depend on. Yeah, that's friends. That's what friends are for.
I definitely can't hit that.
In good times. In bad times, I'll be on your side forevermore.
Wow, that's definitely not.
Yeah.
Oh, that didn't come through too painful.
That was all right,
Well, you weren't hearing my voice.
I did. I heard the essence of what it was. Did you? Through my spiritual psychology ears, heard the essence.
Yeah.
No, this is good, and so we're just absolutely thank you for joining us, in this journey, and we really do want you to be a part of the conversation. So retweet. You'll see our Instagrams and Facebook things. Join us on this journey.
What is a tweet? These are things I got to learn.
A tweet or a tweet?
A tweet.
Oh, we're not going to talk about that. We're just going to.
More than anything, I would love the feedback.
Yes.
If there's certain topics, if there's certain challenges, certain stories you want to hear us share, certain struggles we've been through. We're going to bring on guests.
Yes.
So we're looking for people, everyday people who've been through certain challenges.
Everyday people.
This isn't a competition because that's really the interesting thing, no matter where we're at in life, or socioeconomics, or ethnicity, or whatever it is, or sexes. We each have our own struggles of worth, and we're all on the same journey, and the circumstances and situations look different, but really it's about rediscovering the love that we already are, each and every one of us, and
shining from that space.
Right.
Radiating. That's what we can do. Like, a lot of times when we see what's going on in the world, we feel helpless, but our love is so powerful. Our love is so powerful. And so everything that we can do to increase that love vibration, that radiance, we are doing our part to make the world a better place.
Yeah, and I 100% agree with that. And I know that if I had heard that several years ago, I'd have been like,
woo, woo, woo,
wow,
wow, wow.
But just try it on as an experiment. Trust me, for a little while, there will be things that we'll be sharing and talking about over time that really will show, like, as we shift, the way we are inwardly, the way we experience life outwardly literally changes. I'm not making this up. It's unbelievable the way that happens. And we're always going to have our challenges. I mean, that's how we grow. It literally is through those struggles that we grow.
Back to the womb. I mean, we literally outgrow the space.
Right. So if you think that you're looking for a quick fix or a way to get out of never struggling again in life, hate to break it to you, but that's what we're here for. However, what I can tell you is if you shift the way you relate to it, how you experience it, the negativity and the it won't be the struggle.
Maybe you're wiggling instead of struggling.
Yeah. No,
maybe
seriously.
You get into a dance of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You still got the movement, but the experience of it is different.
Well, that's the part we have dominion over is we can't control things external of ourselves, but what we do have control over is how we relate to it. And when we're able to shift that, then that means we have dominion over that. Like, no one can ever take that away.
Exactly.
No one.
Exactly. That's one of the things, I mean, and this might seem totally off. So sometimes my mind will flip to something and it might make sense on how it comes together later. But it made me think about line dancing. It's like, line dancing is really fun and it really challenges people. They're like, okay, I can just get in on the crowd and just join in with everybody else. And you see the people that are at different levels of the learning.
Right.
And then you see somebody when they get the step, they're like, got that one. Okay, now what's the next one? I mean, and we can get into the dance because it has the same psychological things. Am I worthy? Can I get up there? Can I keep the rhythm? Can I keep up with the people? Can I make the movements? All the conversation, no matter what we're doing, from dancing to climbing Kilimanjaro, we have these same conversations.
I love that you just said that. Like, that's an analogy I just totally resonate. I used to own and operate a ballroom dance studio.
Oh, really?
But
the many facets of Danny.
Yeah, exactly. Many lives I've tried to live in one. But the amazing thing about ballroom dancing is the basics is very easy to learn. The basic is very easy to learn.
It's what's next.
All the different but the thing is, once you know the basic, you're in the dance.
Mm-hmm.
And then everything else is just adding to it. But you're on the dance floor and you're dancing.
I've been trying to figure out how they do that with Dancing with the Stars and all of these different people from different walks of life get in there and compete. They learn the basics
That's
first.
right. And you learn that basic steps to whichever, I mean, the dances can be different from salsa to swing to whatever. But it's the same. Once you learn the basic, which is fairly easy, you're on the dance floor.
You're on the dance floor. You're having fun. You're in it.
And then that's how you relate to it. And then now you get to add, like, hey, add this underarm turn for her, or the spin, or the, whatever, the different things.
I mean, and that's actually an interesting opportunity to, in a playful way, to see how you think. Like what are you saying to yourself as you're going through that process, learning?
So true.
Man, I can't keep the rhythm. I mean, it's very, very simple and it's very, very clear. You're going to hear, come on, you got this, or you suck, like, sit down.
And that is actually, and sometimes our personalities are just different. I guess that's perfect for me because when I was like that with salsa, like, man, I want to do something different. Like, literally, and that's a perfect reflection of my mentality. I'll get out there and just doing the basic gets me super bored right away.
You ready to do the next thing?
I want to do something else. Or even just when I go salsa dancing, like I usually they just do all salsa and bachata or whatever, and it's like I want to do a bunch of other stuff, and but that's just my personality. It doesn't make it right or wrong. It's just what you were just saying. It's like it identifies more of who I am. I just like variety and trying and doing different things and mixing it up.
And how many people would be like, I don't want to do that. That's for silly. Because they don't want to challenge themselves and hear what they might say if they have to get out there and try.
Well, I tell you what, man, because you're talking about line dancing, it reminded me of country line dancing, right? And
that one that's real fast. It's like I was like, it's a kind of country cowboy skipping dude. It was like, okay, this is dangerous. I was like, I'm getting out of here.
Hey, I remember, I'll be honest, I used to talk smack about that back in the day. It was like country dancing. I just do that because white people know how to dance. You gotta tell them, oh, here we go. Let's do it together now. Listen, I grew up breakdancing, popping. Like, I was all in R&B and rap. Man, I might look white, but don't let that fool you. There's a Hispanic boy inside of this thing. And I definitely was not like, I am not getting on the dance floor doing no line dancing. But I would go and it was fun.
Yeah, it looks fun.
Well, no, then I went out there and it was fun. It was just my own judgments around.
The honky tonk, the music.
Yeah. But no, everybody's out there dancing around and fun.
Kicking and
before you knew it.
And now YouTube, you can practice like at home now on the big screen.
Exactly. Well, and I'll be honest. I mean, I was young and in college, and there's a place called In Cahoots Wednesday night, Sacktown. Sacramento. I mean, all the hot college girls were there. So trust me, I was there Wednesday nights, whether I liked the music or not. I was out there tush pushing.
Tush pushing, all right.
On the horseshoe or whatever it was called. I don't know. There was a bunch of them, but it was fun.
Dancing is fun. Dancing
Right?
is great. Dancing is awesome.
Yeah, it just made me think of. I was just listening to something where they were talking about. Oh, we're talking about the education system and
Yes.
how it's been designed in a way to like really, really for a certain type of people, right? And then we
Mhm.
just assume like, oh, you're ADD or you're dyslexia or you're, and there's something wrong with that person. They need medication.
Yeah.
Versus really designing education in a different way to really embrace these different things. They were talking about this girl who was really struggling in class and couldn't stay still, and it seemed like she was a problem. And I don't know if it was a teacher. Somebody came over and they to the mother and had sat her down, the child down in a room, and turned music on, and then they left, and then they had the mom look in and say, "Take a look at your daughter." And she was just dancing and moving around to the music, and she just loved it. And they were like,
That's awesome.
They were like, "There's nothing wrong with your child. Your child is a dancer. She needs to be in dance classes."
Something to do with that energy that needs to use it.
Well, and it wasn't like, oh, there's something. It's just the way she was designed. But in a traditional type school, that's never going to be. You're never going to get the opportunity to see that skill, to embrace it. And so next, this little girl ended up becoming like this incredible dancer, and like it's choreographed and been on.
We all have
all
gifts,
kinds of amazing things.
Then the gift quest. What's our gift? And that reminds me, like I had this student. Like I've had hundreds of them over the years, but this one is kind of fresh. Every day, struggling to just even get him to put his name on a piece of paper. And I came across this documentary, this beautiful documentary. It's on Discovery Go. It's called Serengeti. And it tells the story, it follows the animals for a year. And they're following the cheetahs, the lion and lioness, the baboons and meerkats or whatever. And it just tells it from their point of view with the children, the survival, the fights, the catch. And it's just so engrossing. It pulls you in. So one day in class, I wanted them to see this video. It's just especially now they're doing these live action like the Lion King.
Yeah.
So it's like, imagine not the Lion King, but really the animals in their habitat. And Lupita, she narrates it, and it's just beautiful. So I played that, and instantly it had all of the students' attention. Like all of them, like bar none, they were sitting down one by one. The kids approach stuff like, "What's this?" And then next thing you know, you look around like, "Huh?" And then the next day, this little boy, Dr. C-Love, you gonna put back on that documentary, that thing we were watching yesterday? I was like, yes. As soon as you all finish your work. Now I had some. This stuff I got to report to the district. I need you to do this first, and then we can do this. And then just to see the similarity and the fight, a lot of times they say in the inner city and call it concrete jungle, but then they see what the jungle is really like. It's just wonderful. So it's really a gift to us when we pay attention and highlight other people's gifts.
I love that. And so were there like different animals that they related to?
Absolutely. Or? So, of course I have to have an academic component of that. So it's like, which animal do you most relate to?
Yeah.
Why, which animal, you most sympathetic to. But it's funny because everybody has their moments. So you get the lioness, and you might be cheering for the zebra, that the zebra gets away before the lioness gets it, until you realize if the lioness doesn't eat, her baby cubs are going to starve.
That's right.
So now who do you vote for? You say, well, there's hundreds of those zebras. One won't hurt. But did the zebra have a name in the zebra family? What did it mean? And you see those relationships too. But
it's cool to do, like, you have them, whichever one they identified with, then they do a report on that.
On that animal.
On
Thank
that
you.
animal.
Yes. I'm going to use that.
How cool would that be for them to like, because now they're intrigued to learn about that particular animal, the traits. Maybe they have like certain qualities or traits or so forth that
I'm going to do that.
they do a little report on it. Or
Yeah,
something.
absolutely. Yeah, which
and
animal?
Then everybody gets in the class gets to learn about
The
each of
other
those
animals.
animals just by finding one.
Exactly. I like that. That's good. I mean, and you saw the hierarchies and the people battling to get this one for the right to mate with the thing. And that was just in the news the other day. They caught 2 lions, like yesterday, 2 lions fighting for the chance to mate with the female. They were like fighting to the death.
Well, I think that's such an interesting.
That's a different take on Michael Jackson and Paul McCartney. The girl is mine.
You got all the music references.
I do. My world, I see my world in music. Yeah. And there's a song for every occasion.
I love that. I
Somewhere.
think Under the Rainbow. Is that it?
That's
Okay.
one. Under the Rainbow is somewhere a place for us. Remember that song?
No.
Oh, I don't know. I remember the name of the song. Evergreen? I don't remember. But I love music. My life is a soundtrack.
I like that.
My life is a soundtrack.
I like that. Man, you had me thinking about something that was
Really something.
super profound.
It was really profound. We know this.
It's so profound. I was like, I want to do a whole segment on it.
It'll come back.
Yeah, it will. For
In its
sure.
own time.
But yeah, I think we'll wrap this episode up. Should we sing our way out of this thing?
I think we should. What are we
Which
singing?
one was it? I already forgot the words.
Thank you for being a friend.
See, I can dance. You
Thank
sing.
you for being a friend.
Thank you for. I'm already missing. I can't do it.
With the earth with a fire
was
on
that
it.
the one you said? Thank you for being a friend. The first one.
The favorite. Thank you for being a friend. We make out a friend.
Thank you for being a friend. What was the other one you said? It was one of the one I liked too.
Oh, that's what friends are for.
No, it wasn't.
That ain't good
It was
times.
the one.
It was
it was the R&B.
Friends. How many of us have them? Friends. The ones we can't depend on.
The ones we can't depend on.
Friends.